so we spoiled the surprise a little. Sorry about that. But let's give her a proper welcome. Yeah, that's true. But let's give it the proper, warm, facts welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, Julie Benz!
Hi.
Hi.
How are you? I'm a little nervous. I'll admit it. Because there's one of me and then there's all of you. So I'm very happy to be here. I hope you have questions, because otherwise we're just going to stare at each other for 45 minutes. Is that okay? Okay. And go. Okay.
What was it like being involved with being in a lesbian relationship and in different households?
No, she's pretty. She smells good. No, you know, I had known Dana for a long time. We did a pilot together years ago that never made it to life. And so I knew her for a long time. And it was a lot of fun. You know, when I first was on the show, I knew what my character was doing, but nobody else did. Dana knew. But the other women on the show didn't know, and so each one would come up to me and be like, "Now you're not breaking up our character's marriage, are you?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Well, who are you getting involved with?" And I'm like, "Someone." But I wouldn't tell them. So everyone was shocked at the table read when they discovered who I was getting involved with. So it was a lot of fun. Yes, I love Dana.
I have a question. How is it Dragon Queen? And did you manage to steal her dog?
Wait, who?
The Dragon Queen.
Oh, Jamie. For those of you that don't know, Jamie Murray, when she went to Dragon Con, was made a queen and was given a crown and a scepter. And she's on my show Defiance, and she's also one of my best friends, and she still wears the crown to set. She wore it to dinner. She takes it very seriously. So we're all her servants, basically.
Is your relationship like that? The way you talk to her on Twitter, is that the same kind of relationship you have in real life?
The way we talk on Twitter is tame compared to how we talk about it.
Who here has seen Defiance?
Who here hasn't seen Defiance, and tell me why you have not? But there's lots of people here that have seen it already. Get on that internet.
Right. It's okay. But I saw a lot of people have not yet seen Defiance, right? So would you be so kind as to explain what your new show is all about?
That's really hard. Defiance it takes place in the future, after there's been a massive war between humans and aliens. And it takes place on Earth. Basically, our planet's been destroyed, and the aliens can't go home, they're stuck here. So it's 8 years after this massive war has ended, and it's really, can humans and aliens live peacefully together? And Defiance is a town. It's where St. Louis used to be. And I play the mayor of Defiance. And I really believe that humans and aliens can get along, that we have to get along if we're all going to survive. And there's a lot of people who are against me. Yes?
Yeah. What's going to happen to Amanda in season 2 of Defiance?
What's going to happen in season 2?
Yeah.
Well, I can't tell. There's too many people here that haven't even seen season 1. That would be just wrong of me. Well, okay, so those who want to close their ears, close your ears. No, I'm serious. Okay. People want spoilers. Season 2, we're going to see a much darker Defiance. At the end of season 1, how do I say this without ruining it for people? At the end of season 1, basically basically, you just have to watch. I can't spoil it. I'll tell you later. You come see me later and I'll tell you. Okay. Yes.
From all the shows you've done, from Darla to Law Ordinary Family or Dexter, and now the fights, what is the most fun character to play?
That's like asking me what kind of chocolate is my favorite. I love them all. You know, I did have a lot of fun on Desperate Housewives. I got to stretch some comedy muscles that I hadn't stretched in a long time. And, but I love each character in their own way. They were all like my children in some way. So it's hard to say which one was my absolute favorite. But I will say Desperate Housewives. It was a special time for me that I was casting up right after Dexter season 4. And it was a great place for me to go and do something completely different and work with women who had inspired me over the years. And it was just a great work environment, and I had a blast playing Robin. She was kind of quirky and funny and silly, and it was fun to do something completely different.
And you got to kiss a girl.
And I got to kiss a girl. There we go. I think that was my husband's favorite role. That's what happened. What's your name?
Yes. What is your favorite season of this stuff?
I can tell you my least favorite. Season 4. No, I would have, you know, I think the first season of every show is always the best because it's so new and special, and we really, you know, didn't know what we were doing and just hoping that people would love it. So I think season 1 was definitely my favorite. Yes.
Can I ask 2 questions?
Okay.
The first one, what do you like most about your character Amanda on Defiance? And the second one, will you have more scenes with Jamie in season 2?
What do I like most about Amanda on Defiance? I love her strength. What I loved about the script when I first read it was how complex all the female characters are. They're very dynamic women, very complicated women, very damaged women. And it's fun to play that as an actress. But for Amanda season 1, I mean, her strength was something that I really liked, and her sticking to her ideals, even when she was faced against a lot of opposition. Season 2, we see a whole different Amanda. And will we see more scenes with Jamie? Yes. Yes, we will. But not too many, because we get in trouble. We cause a lot of trouble, her and I, off camera, so, and we laugh too much. We get the giggles. I mean, she's painted all white. She looks funny. So. Yes?
I asked the same question to Sean Patrick Connery last year. As your character in Saw didn't die, would you consider a comeback in the Saw 8? And how many of the movies have you seen?
Oh, I've only seen one of the Saws. It's the first one. No, I haven't even seen the one I was in because it really scared me. Like, it really scared me. I actually did the movie because I wanted to see if I could be in something that terrifies me. And I was so terrified. I was in all the traps, and the traps are so real on set. It's not even funny how real they are. It's like really real. And I would get freaked out thinking I was really going to die. I had nightmares. I vomited on set one day. I got so scared. I would do another because it's a fun group of people to work with. But it would be tough. I mean, it was hard, and a lot of it's the same crew that does them all. So the same crew from the first one is the second one, third, and fourth one, all the way up. And they were all laughing at me because I was having these terrible nightmares while working on the movie, and they were like, "Yeah, you're a newbie." That's what happened. So yeah, but I would definitely go back.
exactly the answer being a main player PhD.
Oh, really?
Only the one she's in.
Yes.
Thank you for being through. Since I watched enjoying the film, I watched a lot of movies and shows which in Europe. And a strange question that in modern family you play a powerful housewife. If you really have a power.
If I could have a superpower, what would it be? X-ray vision, right now. No, I would actually go with super speed, like I had in No Ordinary Family. I mean, I don't like to sit in traffic. And if I had super speed, I could bypass all of that, so. Yes.
Yeah, you've done so many different genres. You did horror and science fiction and comedy. And I was wondering, as an actor, is it very different to play it? Because for us, visually, it's very different. But is it different for you?
To play in different genres?
Yes.
I think comedy is the hardest because it really is about rhythm and pacing and the chemistry you have with your other actors. And it's for me, I love doing comedy, but it's also the most, I feel like, I'm walking on a high wire when I'm doing it, because you never know if it's gonna work or not. It's really hard to do comedy when you don't have an audience. It's hard to know what's gonna be funny, what's gonna work, what's not gonna work. You also have to hope you have an editor that has comedic timing as well. So I think comedy is the hardest. Yes.
What is it like? What is it like seeing yourself on TV when you look like when you're looking at Dexter, for example, where you're like, oh, that's funny. I had to laugh first time the scene was shot, or do you look like do you get like the whole picture, or what is it like seeing yourself on TV?
Well, whenever I watch something I'm in, it's like watching a home movie. I'll be sitting there watching it with my husband, and I'll say, "Oh, honey, that was the day when I was shooting that. That was the day when such and such happened." And he's like, "Shh." So for me, it's I don't have the same enjoyment as you might, because I related to things that were going on in my life. Oh, that was the day on set when I found out this happened, and da. So, but I like to watch the shows because I like to see what my other actors are doing. There's a lot of things that are shot on days when we're not there, and so I like to see how all of that plays out. I'm gonna stand up. I feel like I can't see you guys. I'm gonna actually come over here. Is this better?
Yes.
Okay. It's much better. Okay, yes.
If you were in my position right now, who would you want to be in your position, and what would you ask them?
Oh, that's a hard question. I don't know. Why are you making me think? I know. You know what? I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan. So any of the Game of Thrones actors would be great to be sitting where you are and asking them questions. I'm fascinated by how do they shoot the show, how much of it is CGI, how much of it is real, where are their locations, what's their schedule like, what's the wardrobe like. I'm pretty fascinated by that show, so I have to say the whole cast of Game of Thrones. Yes? What was it like to work with Michael C. Hall? He's great. He's great. You know what? He's actually a very unassuming, very shy kind of guy. He could probably be sitting here in this room and you wouldn't even know it. He's not. But if he was here, he'd probably, he's that type of guy that just kind of blends in the background. He's very sweet, very shy, very focused on his work. And working with him was so easy. I just had to listen. It's pretty much all I did. Just listen and react.
What kind of difficulties casting
That happened after I was no longer on the show. I mean, it was kind of around the same time as in the last episode, so we didn't, he actually kept it very private, so I wasn't on set with him at the time.
Did you keep in touch?
Yes, I'm still very much in touch with all the cast. He's doing very well. Yes.
How did you experience filming Rambo? I think it was a rough one.
Did I what?
Rough one? Rambo, filming Rambo in Thailand.
Was it rough filming Rambo?
Yeah.
It was fun. I mean, we spent 3 months on location in Thailand, and it was the only girl in a Rambo movie not to die. I mean, and we had a great time. I mean, we were in the jungles. It was difficult. It was dirty. We all smelled like horrible how much we smelled. Thank God you can't smell us off the screen. But but it was exciting and fun. It was a really great experience. Yes. I am. I mean, I see Marsha Cross a lot at different events, and I still keep in touch with Dana and Eva. I see a lot too. So, yeah. Yes.
I wonder how in the different roles you have, the characters you have very different. Rita is very vulnerable and Amanda is strong, and how do people in normal life relate to you when you play a strong or vulnerable or funny character?
How they react different. I think when I was on Buffy and Angel, people were afraid of me. And I redeemed myself with Rita, and now everybody wants hugs. And with Amanda, a lot of fans call me Madam Mayor, which I like. I can boss people around, it's awesome. But each character is like a side of myself, a part of who I am. So, Rita exists in the more vulnerable side of me. Obviously, Darla exists in the more kind of psychotic side of me. And Amanda is definitely like the stronger side. So, but they're all just parts of me. Who hasn't asked a question yet? Okay.
On the podcast and the chance to meet Madison and Agatha, do you think she will be a great actress in the future too? Gabby's daughter, Madison.
Oh, I actually never worked with her. No. I didn't get a chance to meet her.
Did you find it difficult working with the facial prosthetics on Buffy and Angel?
It's not fun. Prosthetic work is not fun. You spend a lot of time in the makeup chair getting it on, and then you spend a lot of time in the makeup chair at the end of the day getting it off. And my prosthetic on Buffy especially was sculpted so it could cut half of my vision. And then I had to wear those big contact lenses, which I don't wear contacts at all. So the idea of putting something over my eye was completely foreign and hard for them to get it in around the prosthetic. But it definitely worked for the character. I mean, I remember they did all the makeup tests on me for the show, and I was thinking to myself, how am I going to play a vampire? How am I going to be scary and got this silly little voice and whatever. And they put the prosthetic on me, and I went to my trailer and I looked in the mirror and I smiled. And I went, oh, that's scary. And so that was the start of Darla.
What did you think about Darla's storyline with Angel, about pregnancy?
What did I think about?
About Darla's storyline with Angel, about pregnancy.
Oh, I thought it was beautiful. I really thought the way Darla ended was such a beautiful, fun way to go for her, and it seemed right. Tim Minear, who wrote the Darla's End, he would always joke with me saying that Darla was going to die one of two ways. And the one way was going to be the way that she did, sacrificing her life for her child. Or the other way was going to be like she was going to be spying on Angel, and she was going to trip and fall on a piece of wood, and nobody would know, and she was just like gone. And I was so happy that we were because it really gave me something to play as an actor. And I think it really redeemed Darla as well, and it made sense. I was shooting up in Canada at the time. I was shooting the miniseries Taken, and they sent me that script, and I read it at lunch and just started crying. I just thought it was such a beautiful gift that they had written for me. This little kid is so cute. Anyway, okay. Yes, okay.
What did you like best about playing Darla on Buffy?
What I like best? She was epic. She was 400 years old. It's kind of fun. I loved doing all the flashback stuff. I loved wearing all the period costumes and the corsets and the big wigs and all of that. I would make them try and pull them in corset as tight as possible, so there were days where I actually couldn't breathe. And Joss would come over and be like, you know, you can loosen that. And I'm like, no! It's really tight, it's good. But it was fun, and it was such a challenging show. I mean, every week I had to do something that scared the crap out of me. I had to ride a horse through fire. I had to be buried alive. I had to sing. And every week they would call and say, like, okay, we're going to do this. How do you feel about that? And I'd be like, okay. The singing one was the most terrifying for me. I am not a singer. I'm horrible, actually. So I was really terrified about singing. And I pulled it off, thank God. I don't know if I'll ever do it again. Yes.
You also auditioned for the role of Buffy. Are you, in retrospect, glad you got Darla?
Oh, I was one of 1,000 girls to audition for the role of Buffy. And it just happened to be how I met Joss Whedon. I was not ready for Buffy at all. I was way too old, and my sensibilities weren't the same. But he liked the choices that I had made, and that's how I ended up playing Darla. So yeah, I mean, there's no regret. I don't ever want to play a role that I'm not right for, because that's just wrong. Murder's a piece, you know. The show probably would have gone pilot and not have gotten picked up if I had played Buffy. So we wouldn't have had a show. So it's just the way I met Joss was through the audition process.
You were awesome as Darla, so.
Thank you. I thought she was a better fit.
We've got time for one more question.
One more? Yes. Let's have the question. One more question. Yes, back there.
One of the features announced about the fight between the game and the series. How does it affect it? And does you guys notice that on set as well?
And what was the last part?
Do you guys notice that on set in the interactivity?
How does the game and the show, how does it work? Okay, so the game takes place in San Francisco. The show takes place in Defiance. There are characters that move in and out of the game, and there's characters from the show, characters from the game that move into the show. And there's also environmental elements that happen from the game to the show. The cool thing is like you can either play the game or you can watch the show, or for an additive experience you can do both. Now this is the first time it's ever been done before, where they have a game going simultaneous to the show. It was 5 years in development. They had to create a special department to be the go-between between the game and the show. And there's certain things that they discovered that might have worked in the game that don't work on the show, and vice versa. For example, the cars they had originally made for the game, when they went to build them, they tipped over. Now, there's a reason why we don't have horses in Defiance, because they're too hard to animate for the game. So we actually wrote it in the script that there are no more horses in the world, and that they were killed off during the terraform, when the Earth got terraformed. So there's certain things that have to be adjusted because of the game and the show. But it's really cool, and if you play the game and you watch the show, you're going to have a better experience than if you just watch the show and if you just play the game. You'll understand things on a deeper level. That's it.
Soul Custody. Can you tell us something about that? Is that?
Oh, that's a little indie film I did. I have no idea when it's coming out. Like those little indie films, you just never know where they're going to end up. But it's a thriller about a woman who gets framed for the murder of her son. And she has to fight back.
And what is your character in the movie?
I play the woman.
You are